Hello, this is William from Visual Components, and I'm going to show you how to use stairs that are available in the Works library. Stairs allow a human worker to walk to different areas that are in different heights. To find the stairs, you can go to the eCatalog panel here, expand Models by Type, click Works Pathfinding, and you want to find this component here called Works Pathway Stairs. Let's add the component to the 3D world. Right now the grid lines of the stairs are showing, so I will click this option to hide them. Notice that you can have more than one lane of traffic on the stairs, and you can define their directions. So the lanes property here defines the number of lanes, and these properties define the direction of each lane. So you can have a maximum of 4 lanes. This lane is used for walking up the stairs, this lane is used for walking down the stairs, but you can change them. So lane 1 is the far right lane here. So we can click this option to go change its direction, so now a human has to walk up the stairs but it can't walk down it. So for lane 2, let's change its direction. So now a human will stay to the right when walking up the stairs and stay to the right when walking down. For changing the length of the stairs, the top is interactive. So if I use the interact tool, I can make the stairs taller or shorter. You can also use this property here called area length, so we can set it to be 2000. For the grid size, you can make the grid size smaller to have the route of walking up and down the stairs more accurate, but a grid size of 400 is fine. For area speed limit, if you don't want people to run up and down the stairs, you can enforce a speed limit. For area ID, you can restrict which resources can use the stairs. For example, you probably don't want a mobile robot to go upstairs. So you can filter out those resources using this. If the area ID is empty, then any resource can use the stairs. For area capacity, if you only want a certain number of people on the stairs, you can use this property to control that. For area collisions and area passing, if you don't want people to bump into each other when walking up and down the stairs, you can leave this option selected. For area passing, if one resource is really slow, whereas another one is in a hurry, you can have them pass each other, especially when there is a collision that is detected. So the resources usually stop before they collide, and if you have area passing selected, then they can walk around each other. For show grid, we already talked about that, so you can see the grid lines. And for lanes, you can define the number of lanes, and you have a maximum of 4 lanes with more than one direction, so a maximum of 2 directions. For free area, if you want a human worker to be able to walk up and down the stairs freely, use any lane, then just select this check mark here. So now the arrows go away, so the human can take any lane to go up or down the stairs. For updating the stairs, this usually happens when you rotate the stairs. You need to have them at a different angle. So if we change its length, the steps here, their top is still parallel with the floor. So what we can do is use the move tool. Notice the origin of the stairs is at the bottom here. So when we rotate around the y-axis, we can change its angle. But now notice the steps are not parallel with the floor, so we can update them, or update the stairs, so now they're flush, like so. Let's now use this component with other pathway components and a human resource in the Works library. So I'm going to press the Control and N key to clear the 3D world. And let's now go back to our Works Smart Collection here. Add a task controller. Add a Works Process component. So this will be the location of a part that we need to pick up. And another Works Process component will be the location of where we want to take the part. Let's now add a pathway area. So go to Works Pathfinding and add a Works Pathway area. Let's move it over here. Make sure our pickup location is inside the area, and we'll hide the grid for now. Let's now add another pathway area, and this time let's change its height to be 2000 or 2 meters along the z-axis, and move it pretty close to the other area, just enough so that we know we have to take stairs to go from here to there. For this Works Process component, let's put it on top of this level or area, so I'll just snap it there. We don't need to see these grid lines either, so I will turn them off. And what do we need to do? Well, we want to create a part here and then feed that part to go to this location using a human. So I'll go to Products and Containers, do a search for a box, and let's use this plastic box or tote bin here. So drag it into the 3D world, copy its name, and now I'll go to the works process component here, which is where I will create the box and feed it, or request a resource to pick it up and put it where it needs to go. Instead of creating the tasks here, I will use a preset. So let's say this is a source of parts. The part name that we want to create is plastic box. Let's give it a new ID of 111. For picking and placing the box, let's give that task a name so we can assign it to a resource. I will call the task pick 111. And let's do this process every 10 seconds. So that's the interval value. So this preset will be used to create tasks in the station when I click the set button here. So if we run the simulation, here's the plastic box, and now we need to create a need for it. So we have to need the box here. So there is a need for the box, sorry, at this location. We have to create it. So I will make a need task that needs a plastic box component that has a product ID of 111. So now there's a need, and now we need a resource to pick up the box and put it here. Let's go to Works Resources, add a Works Human Resource, and to see how this works without using a pathfinding or route, what we can do is go to the Human Workers Properties, go to Optimization, and turn off pathfinding. So now this human worker will go in a straight line to pick up the box and a straight line here to place the box. But if we run the simulation, nothing happens because we have not assigned the task of delivering the box to the resource. So let's reset, and in the human's properties, let's go to its task list and assign it that task of pick 111. Run the simulation, and now the human worker picks up the box, and you can notice it's going in a straight line to drop off the box, and the process repeats itself. So that looks fine, but let's use some stairs, please. So let's reset. I'll go to Works Pathfinding, and we need to add a Works Resource Pathfinder. This component's job is to calculate routes for resources, tell it where to go. So the Pathfinder can tell the human to use these pathways to pick up and deliver the box. Now this Pathfinder, it does not need to be visible in your layout, and you only need one for calculating routes. So it's kind of like the task controller, it doesn't need to be visible either. If we now calculate the pathway for delivering the box and show connections, you can see that these two areas are not connected. So let's add a staircase that connects them. So add a Works Pathway Stairs. And to connect stairs to other pathways, they need to be touching, so their boundaries need to touch. So either this side, this side, this side, or over here. Needs to touch either the bottom or the top of the stairs. So let's use our PMP command. And just eyeball it. We want to see some intersection between the geometry. So right about there is fine, but let's move it back just a bit. And to make sure that the pathway and stairs are connected here, let's go back to our Pathfinder, calculate the pathway again, and show the connection. And yep, you can see we're connected here, which is indicated by these grids. So a human worker can use these grids to walk up and down the stairs. But at the top, it's a bit different. We want to make sure we can reach this area. So one option we could do is to change the height of the area. We could also change the length of the stairs, but we don't want the geometry to overlap. So what I'm going to do to kind of maybe simulate this as an attic or something is I'm going to rotate the stairs. And what I'll first do is do like this. That's fine. But now the stairs are too long, so I'll interact with the stairs and make them shorter. And we just want them to intersect the geometry here. So right about there. But then this area is a bit too, needs to be moved a bit, so let's move it over here. And just make sure they still intersect or touch. And yeah, that's okay. See if it works. And remember, we need to update our stairs so each step is level. So let's update the stairs. And there we go. Let's now verify the connection between this top area here the top of the stairs with this area. Sorry. I'll use my cell graph panel to quickly select the pathfinder so I don't have to change the view. I'll calculate the pathway, show connections, and yep, we now have these grids able to be used. And for our stairs directions for each lane, we have one for going up and one for going down, but let's make it a free area and also hide the grid lines. Run the simulation. And the human is still going to walk in a straight line because remember we turned off the pathfinding property in the human. So let's now turn it back on. So I'll reset, select the human worker, go to the optimization tab here in the component properties, and select pathfinding. And yep, now the human is walking up and down the stairs. Of course, the step size between the stairs is a bit too much right now, but we can select the stairs, and let's actually make our area further out this way, and we can keep the station there, but now let's just angle our stairs again. Right about there I think is fine. And now we need to make the stairs a bit longer. So I think that's fine. No, not quite there. So now let's just rotate a bit once again. And yep, that should be fine. So let's calculate the pathway again and show the connection. And that's good. Run the simulation. And I did forget to do one thing, sorry. I forgot to update the stairs. So let's do that now. And there we go. So we have more steps. Looks good. And yep, we're going up. And we're going down. Okay. Let's see how this works with other resources. So I'm going to add one more human worker to the mix. And I'll give that human worker an orange shirt, just so we can tell the two apart. I will also assign this worker the pick 111 task. So by default, the works task controller, it will choose a resource that can do the task that is closest to that location. So here you can see resource priority. Right now it's set to nearest. So it should be this resource because it was close enough to do the job. The next time around when the box is created and fed, it should be this resource, and that's what happens, yes. But let's now create another location that needs the box. So I'll add a works process component again. And instead of putting it at this location, let's actually create another area that's at a different height too. So I'm going to copy and paste or clone this area here. Get a top-down view, and let's go, instead of having them be on top of each other, let's actually create a staircase going this way. So let's make its height to be 4,000 along the z-axis, and we need stairs to reach this location. So I'm going to copy and paste these stairs, and I'll snap the bottom of the stairs to this area. Go, but you can see its orientation is not the best, so let's fix that. Going to rotate along the z-axis 90 degrees, and then we need to rotate along in this case I'm using the world coordinate system, so I'm going to rotate along the x-axis, but we can change the coordinate system to object, and now I can get back to rotating along the y. And it looks like they're intersecting now. They are. So let's move our area a bit this way. So I'm going to drag along the y-axis, but also hold on the shift key, which allows me to snap to the geometry of where I want to move in that axis. So I'm snapping to the top of the stairs here, so the area moved along the y-axis to reach this location. So might be a tips and tricks for you. Let's now update our stairs. Remember we rotated it. And yep, we're flush again. Let's move our works process component that we just added, snap it to this area here. And what does it need? It needs the plastic bin that has an ID of 111, product ID of 111. And since both resources can perform that task, it might be staggered a bit. Let's see which one goes all the way up here. And it looks like it's going to be the orange shirt one. And yep, you can see there was a bit of a pause there. That's because the Pathfinder detected the collision, and then since we have passing turned on, the orange shirt resource was able to, go around it. And this time around, it seems that the orange shirt was actually waiting, since it's back to that resource priority again. So if we reset the simulation and use a warm-up time of, say, 30 seconds, we can kind of get back to that state. So yeah, this actually needs to be a bit quicker. Sorry, 20 seconds, let's see. Yep, so now the orange shirt is delivering this box up here, but you can see now a new box is available. So since this resource was closest, that's why it was being used. But you can, of course, select the Works Task Controller and change that priority to be cyclic or the least utilized. So whoever's not doing the most work will get the next task. Let's reset. And instead of having the location here, let's see if we can have them avoid one another. But they already kind of did that earlier, so let's get rid of our warm-up time. And this time around, I'm going to select the Pathfinder, and I do have the option of updating and showing the connections and other things while the simulation is running, so I can show traffic, show obstacles, and also show when resources bypass one another. For the reserved, it's actually indicating where the human's going to walk, and show where the resources are waiting. It's usually when they have an obstacle or an area is off limits. Now for the area ID and filtering which staircases can be used, let's say that only the magenta colored shirt resource can actually go up to this level, whereas the orange shirt resource can just go to this level. So let's reset. And remember, a resource can only have one area ID. So for the magenta, let's actually change it from pedestrian to be top level. So lowercase t, and then level is uppercase. Let's copy this area ID. And remember that these pathways can support multiple area IDs for different resources. So if I select the area here, its area ID is empty, so any resource can use it. For the stairs, well, same logic. So it's empty, but let's actually make these stairs have an area ID of top level. So when a resource needs to go up here, of course, only this resource can use the stairs. And let's see what happens. So I'll speed up the simulation a bit, and notice this time, since the orange shirt resource cannot use these stairs to reach this pathway here, the Pathfinder will just put it on a straight route to go straight there. And that's why this is happening. So what we can do is, change the layout around, but another way is just to use a lifter or other stairs. So let's actually do that now. I'll go back to my Works Pathfinding, and all we're doing is just getting familiar with these components. So let's add a Works Pathway Lifter. And I already talked about this component in another video. Just make sure the lifter, just like the stairs, is touching a boundary of another pathway. So right about there is fine. We'll then use the Pathfinder to verify that connection. So let's calculate and show connections. And yes, we have a connection, so it's clear. And then the level up here, it actually can be the level 2 in the lifter. So we have ground level, level 1, level 2. And what we can do is make some lanes that go from the lift to this location here. So I'm going to snap the lane to this point in the lifter and just rotate it negative 90 degrees. And I will eyeball it a bit just to make sure they intersect. That's fine. This does have lanes, so let's actually turn those off by using the free area and also hide its grids. And now let's add a curved pathway and snap it to this location here. We don't want that, but we just want the same height. So let's rotate it. And let's rotate it again to be about -15. And for its length, let's go to the component properties panel. And I believe we have to change the radius. So right now it's at 3,000. What happens if I put it at 6,000? Actually, no, sorry. Let's do 3,000. Keep it the same for now, but change the angle of the curve. So let's use 180 degrees. And now, whoop, all the way over here. And notice that the radius is a bit too much, so let's actually make it 2,800. And that looks okay. We could, of course, create an offset to kind of angle the path to go here, but let's just make the area a bit bigger here. So I'll interact with its boundary on this side, and just make sure it's touching. And just zoom in a bit closer. And yep, right about there. Let's, of course, test our connection. So I'll go back to the Works Pathfinder, but let's keep the same view again, sorry. I'll use the cell graph panel and the Pathfinder and calculate the pathway, show connections, and yes. So we have these connections between the stairs and the lifter. So both resources can use this area, and this area. But only the magenta shirt resource can use these stairs to go to this level here. To work around that, we're going to allow our orange resource to use this lifter here to then take these pathways to reach the location. Now, instead of having our magenta shirt resource use the lift, let's actually have an area ID for the lifter, which will be called top level, which is the area ID that we assign to the, we assign that to the magenta shirt resource here. You can see it's top level. So let's actually give the orange shirt resource its own unique area ID. So instead of pedestrian, let's say orange. Keep it simple. And then for the lifter here, we don't want the magenta shirt to use it, so let's use an area ID to filter out the resource. So only a resource with an area ID of orange can use the lift. And if we run the simulation, let's see if we get the grand finale. So here comes the resource, and yeah, using that lift. Going all the way up. There we go. And remember, the orange shirt resource, it can't walk down the stairs, so it's going to have to go all the way back around. Okay, this completes the video. If you have any more questions, please feel free to visit our forum at forum.visualcomponents.com. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful day.